Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
And welcome to the Culture Cast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I am joined by Eric Kniss this time, which I know I'm as surprised as I think everyone else is.
I am back. I am broadcasting live from my new couch.
The question is, how many times have you come back versus not being here?
I don't know. You know what? I like to keep the listeners on their toes.
It's almost like you're not.
I think he technically would have had to come back one more time than he's left.
True.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's not like you're the co-host of this or anything.
I mean, you know, I'm like the continuing special guest, you know?
You are special. That is for sure. No one is going to debate that one bit.
Yep, that's what my mom says.
Right. My mom says I'm special. Good for you. And we are joined by our good friend in Christ, Mrs. Jess Byard.
Hello.
Praise be.
That was maybe the strangest introduction.
Our friend
even
in
stranger
Christ.
Than all the bullshit that you introduced me as.
Mrs. Jess Byard.
Our friend in
I mean,
Christ.
you're not wrong in that.
Are you not married? Like last time I checked.
Yes, I am.
From now on, I'll call Eric Mrs. Eric Kniss. That's fine.
There we go.
I don't think that's accurate, though, since I'm not married to anybody.
No, but you're a Mrs. is what we're saying. I don't want to impose my gender normativity on you.
I'm definitely missing most of the time, so.
Yeah, well. And on this episode of the Culture Cast, all jokes aside, we're going to be talking about a little film called Get Out. It is Jordan Peele's first directorial debut. I just wanted Eric to go, wait, what? No, we're actually going to be talking about Us, Jordan Peele's second directorial debut. The question is, how many people turned it off as soon as they were like, wait, what?
Right? Like, how many listeners did you lose?
Well,
you just had a bunch of people look at their phones and go like, wait a second.
Did I click off the wrong episode?
It is a Jordan Peele movie, though, but I guess they did a different one. No, we're going to be talking about Us, which is Jordan Peele's sophomore directorial film. He wrote and directed it, came
to take the date out of the bag.
That's a classic right there.
What does I Got 5 on it mean?
It's about drugs.
It's not about drugs. It's a dope song. Don't do drugs.
Get in rhythm.
There you go. There you go.
Creep on in.
Can't believe how big Dave got.
Did you hear Gabe got a boat?
He's kidding, right?
He's not kidding.
Hey, I think it's vodka o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Jason?
Jason?
Where were you?
I didn't know if you were lost. Stick with me, and I'll keep you safe.
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared of a family?
Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
What are you people?
It's us.
They look exactly like us. They think like us. They know where we are. We need to move and keep moving. They won't stop until they kill us. Or we kill them.
Be careful.
Out on March 22nd, stars Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Elizabeth Moss, and for some reason that I can't figure out, Tim Heidecker?
I mean, it's not like it stars him.
It must be because it's free real estate. That has to be why. So,
yeah, Tim, can we use your beach house?
Yeah, that's free real estate. Great job. So I'm just gonna kick it to y'all first. What did y'all think of Mr. Jordan Peele's second most hotly anticipated film of the... I mean, it's like one of the most anticipated films of the year, so what did y'all think of his sophomore film? Did it fall into the often mentioned sophomore slump?
No, not for me. I don't think so at all. I think that, I mean, I really enjoyed it, for sure. I would say, I think I gave it, like, you know, initial hot take rating would have been like 4 out of 5 stars. Which, you know, I pretty much don't give anything 5 stars. Like, that's a huge
Unless it's
thing.
Suspiria 2018.
Right. Which I didn't 4 stars on that one, too.
Yeah, it's true. You did.
Mm-hmm. But, no, I don't think it fell into a sophomore slump at all. I think that it was... You know, it's not a perfect movie by any means, and I don't think that, you know, anybody can really pretend like it is. But it's a really good movie. It's a really layered movie. It has a lot to unpack, I think, and I think that it is both for a, you know, casual viewer who's not, you know, really into overanalyzing and overthinking and beating movies to death like the three of us are. It's, you know, can be seen as just like a fun, kind of interesting take on various genres, subgenres of horror with a lot of fun references thrown in. But I think, you know, for people like us, and I think people listening to this podcast who like to look into those different layers and unpack all of that, I think that there's a lot of that in here for people to do. And that's one of my favorite things about watching movies and then thinking about them afterwards and talking about them. So yeah, I think that this movie left me with a lot to talk about and a lot of interesting, pretty overwhelmingly positive. There are a lot, you know, flaws, like I said, and we'll get to those. But overall, I think that it was a pretty solid sophomore take.
What about you, Eric? Mr. Quiet.
I'm allowing.
I know, I'm just fucking with you. I just wanted you to go.
Feelings.
She has to talk. We know, Eric. Go ahead. Come on.
I'll talk over you all fucking day.
Please do.
Shit.
And while you're at it, slip some tongue in there for me, please.
Oh, God damn it.
I like that. I like the ooh in the background. Now that right there gets everyone out of a sophomore slump on this podcast.
Oh, God.
I don't know what you were expecting. Were you expecting maybe the Addams Family?
I don't know what that means. But anyways, back to my hot take on this movie. My take on this movie, and I think I've said this a couple of times, maybe even to you guys, was it's...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
It's not, I think, technically as good of a movie as Get Out, but I'm going to watch this movie way more times than I ever watched Get Out. I don't know if I loved this movie, but I cannot stop thinking about it. There is a lot that's happening in this movie. And like Jess said, there's a ton to unpack, and there are so many layers and sort of like levels to this movie that I think it's definitely a multi-watch type of movie to like really, get anything out of it, or get out of it to try and get everything out of it that they are trying to show you. So as of recording this, I haven't seen it twice. I've only seen it once, but God damn it, I've been thinking about it a lot for the past 5 days since I saw it or whatever. So, it's an awesome movie. It's totally fun. It's 100% a crazy horror movie. And it went, if the first movie was like kind of this subtle thriller with horror elements, like social commentary, it was very focused on its message and very clear, and this movie is completely unsubtle and completely all over the fucking place. And the world building that was done in this movie is insane. And I just want to know more about it. Now it's your turn. So everybody skip forward about 1 minute and 48 seconds, and then you can hear me talk again.
Or me.
I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think there's a lot of problems. I think Jordan Peele does a lot right, but I think he also overburdens the story with a twist that I can't tell if the twist is intentionally essentially given away at the beginning of the movie, so it kind of shades the way you interpret the film, because the twist is insanely unsubtle in a way that almost feels intentional. And I'm assuming y'all would agree with that. The twist twist is unsubtle beyond words, and I think that that's intentional. However,
and I mean, we're talking spoilers here, right? I mean, this movie, we can't not talk spoilers.
Yeah. So it turns out that Lupita Nyong'o's character is actually Maz Kanata from Star Wars, and this is all it turns out that the characters actually get swapped at the beginning of the movie, and the character that you're following the entire movie is one of the quote tethered, the people who are wearing red, the kind of the Michael Myers jumpsuit wearing characters from the trailer that you've seen. If you haven't seen the movie yet, obviously I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you haven't, but
you really shouldn't listen to this.
Especially if you're listening spoilers. The problem that I have with this movie is Jordan Peele's universe building. It's okay, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to leave a bunch of this up to kind of interpretation, and that's fine. However, what is being left up to interpretation, I'm not sure is particularly super interesting. I think it's an interesting movie. I just don't think I don't think it fills the shoes of Get Out, even in a way that I would be, I don't know, I'll watch it again, sure. I'll probably watch it 1 or 2 more times, but I completely disagree with you, Eric. I have seen Get Out like 7 or 8 times now. It stands up to repeat viewing really well. There's a lot about it that's
it does,
multi-layered. For sure. It's a lot of fun. It has interesting things to say. I think this movie has some interesting things to say, but I think that the narrative gets in the way of it. And again, like the whole thing with the twist being this weird idea that I feel like, again, like the twist is meant to be so obvious so that it's layering the movie in on itself with this twist that it's trying to say something about who the tethered actually are if they were able to be in the real world, and the kind of the idea that the tethered in the real world can be like us, and the crack showing about Lupita Nyong'o's character. I think the movie's okay. I was a little disappointed because it was a little one note in spots. It really was. And it's unfortunate because Lupita Nyong'o's performance is amazing. She's fantastic. Jordan Peele knows how to get great performances out of actors that aren't like main character players in other films. I mean, you had Black Panther, which had Winston Duke and Lupita Nyong'o in it. Lupita Nyong'o didn't do as much as, some of the other female actors in that film, but she was a standout there. She's a standout here. Winston Duke is fantastic in this movie. The I wouldn't say child actors, but the younger actors in this film, Evan Alex and Shahadi Joseph, are fantastic as well. But there's a lot of this movie that just feels a little one note. It feels a little not played out, but the whole doppelganger thing, for me personally, it's not like a super interesting idea. I appreciate that Jordan Peele essentially, let me put it this way, this feels like his what's the word I'm looking for here? This feels like his application to do the Twilight Zone. This feels it feels like a Twilight Zone episode blown up.
His fan version of a Twilight Zone, and that's exactly I was going to say that.
It totally is, because there's a Twilight Zone episode that is this exact plot down to a point. Like, mirror image is, the doppelganger's the bad one, but then it turns out that the bad one is the original, like, of fucking course.
Right. And that's why I think that the twist is intentional. I think that is something that, and I'm okay with that. I don't think that it diminishes the story in any way. I think that it actually helps it. I think that if the twist was supposed to be, if he was really going for, like, if it was played out more as like, see, I gotcha, then I would be a bit more just like, nah, you didn't.
But it kind of feels like that, though, doesn't it? Because it's the last thing in the movie.
Sometimes,
right?
but sometimes, and I think, there were many people who were genuinely surprised. And I think that, again, it very much appeals to, like I said, to that, more casual moviegoer, the one, who hasn't maybe seen every episode of The Twilight Zone, who hasn't watched all of that. I was watching The Twilight Zone before we did this podcast, and I found, like 3 more episodes that I could see very much as inspiration. Like, I watched 3 different episodes that were very much, I could see bits of those in, us. So I think that I agree with you in that it does very much feel like a 2-hour like Twilight Zone episode, and I'm okay with that. I do agree that Jordan Peele, I think that where this movie where a lot of my problems with it stem from, and I think it kind of, what you're saying, you would agree with this, is that I think that Jordan Peele is a very good writer. I don't think he's a great writer. I think that he is a little bit too exposition-y at points, and I think that he, there's definitely some unevenness, I think, in how he lays out the stories. This was a pretty standard 3-act setup, but like you said, certain parts just seem a little flatter than others. Certain parts to me felt a little bit like there was a lot chocked in, into this one sequence, and then there's not a lot going, there's not quite as much happening in the next few minutes or so. And it just, at times, I kind of felt a little bit uneven in pace and uneven in tone. Not tone, but just time.
Oh, the entire third act for me, I feel is a narrative mess, especially where Jordan, and look, like you said, Jordan Peele is a good writer, not a great writer, and
I think he's going to get a lot better.
Oh, yeah, no, I completely agree. But right now, in 2 back-to-back... Yeah, in back-to-back movies, you have an entire character do a fucking exposition dump in 5 minutes.
An exposition monologue.
And it takes the movie from a pace...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan. #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Of a 7 to a pace of 0. I mean, I don't write movies for a living. Jess, I know that you have written stuff and you do write stuff. That's a big no-no. It's a no-no because it just slows down the pace completely, and you're just like, I don't think you need to explain this to me by beating me over the head with it. It's like a James Bond villain monologue. Like, everybody makes fun of them because they're completely out of place for a reason.
It did feel like that to me. Like I did feel like a little bit like, oh, this is like a James Bondy kind of reveal. But the thing is yeah, generally exposition monologues are a no-no because you shouldn't assume that you have to explain everything to your audience. You should be able to show in your script and in your story and ultimately in your movie or television show what is going on rather than saying, hey, this is what's going on.
Which is insane considering how so much of this movie doesn't explain anything. Like, so much of this movie is not explained, and then Jordan Peele goes, I'm going to explain this stuff. Yeah, but he's like, I'm going to explain this, though. This is the one thing I'm going to explain, and I'm thinking to myself, why? If you're going to give the audience so much credit to kind of interpret the Hands Across America thing, or the significance of the rabbits, or the significance of, like, the scissors and the gloves and the jumpsuits,
right?
Why are you going to go, oh, yeah, but by the way, let me just lay this shit out for you? And I'm like, as much as I like Lupita Nyong'o's performance, going, hey, do this monologue and explain everything to the dumb audience members that don't pick up on this. I'm not saying if you don't pick up on it, you're dumb, but like that's the way it feels as an audience member.
And that's exactly why they
gotta give your audience some credit. Give them some credit because they're not stupid.
You shouldn't do that exactly because your audience doesn't want to feel talked down to or kind of like they can't follow what's going on.
And they did that in Get Out at the end of the movie. The same thing where Daniel Kaluuya is sitting in front of the TV and they had said the same thing. Stephen Root has that huge monologue about how, black people are more desirable, dark skin's more desirable. It's like, no shit, but I think we got that. Like, it's not obvious or anything.
But I mean, okay, like in this movie, we could very easily break into two categories as far as like discussing it on just a movie filmmaking level, like technical wise. I would agree that I don't think it's as tight of a movie as Get Out. I think that like I said, it's a bit more uneven, and so there's a bit more fat that could have been trimmed or just done differently. But other than that, though, on a technical basis, two things that really stuck out to me were the visual look, which was just gorgeous, is particularly anything doing in Santa Cruz. Is that first sequence, opening sequence, everything in all of those scenes is super rich, and just it does have a really of the time feel to it without feeling like manufactured too much. I think that it has a very genuine feel to it.
Except for that Thriller t-shirt.
That is the one thing that does stick out real hard, and that is maybe some bad timing.
Oh boy, is that the worst timing of them all? You're just like, yeah. Any other time it's evocative and it evokes, any other time it evokes an era and a time and a place, but then you're like, but Michael Jackson also fucking raped kids, and we're now having to deal with a post-Leaving Neverland universe, and
But you know what's interesting is I just saw an interview with him this morning. I was thinking about the movie, and I watched a bunch of random like press interviews and stuff that he was doing, and one of the guys on the press junket that they were doing asked him about that, and he said that there's quite a few references in the movie, with the single glove and the red jumpsuit that's very evocative of Thriller and everything like that. And like, if he knew what, if he
Dude,
knew.
we all knew. Come on.
But
this is excuse time if he's going at that shit.
No. But if he knew what was coming down the pipeline, would he have taken those references out? And he said, no, I would have put more in, because he was talking about really the duality of Michael as like.
I don't believe this shit for a second. I'm not buying it.
I don't know.
Are you buying that shit? I'm not buying that shit. That sounds like Damage Control to me.
You know what? It doesn't matter whether or not.
I think that it was 19.
Concept.
I think that it was 1986, and that not having there was going to be a Thriller shirt there.
Sure.
And the thing is that right now it's just it's bad timing. That's what it is. If
I think it's going to be bad timing for a very long time.
If Leaving Neverland hadn't come out yet, we wouldn't be having this discussion quite. Like, there would have maybe been a comment, but on Michael Jackson in general. But I think just right now it's just kind of a freshly reopened wound, and then that kind of being like juxtaposed, or you're just kind of like ouch. But yeah, no, that does suck. But the other technical aspect I really was digging about this whole movie was the score.
Oh my God, the music in this movie is so
fucking
good.
love so much.
I've been listening to the score every day since then.
It just evokes so many different types of horror styles, score styles, and I do really, really like the I Got 5 on It tethered remix is amazing. And yeah, it's nice to see, I enjoy Jordan Peele's general soundtracks, like his, not just the scores, but the actual, music that he gets, played throughout his films. And I think that's also, an obvious benefit of, having a more diverse group of people making films and television and things like that, is that you get everybody's interpretation of what, how they would score a movie. Like, people who love movies and want to make movies, or, just study whatever, everybody has like a soundtrack that they, associate with certain things, or that like everybody's, played out, well, if I was doing this, what would my soundtrack be? That's crossed many a movie fan's mind, I think. And for me personally, I really appreciate him. I was reading his reason for using I Got 5 on It, and he was just saying basically the beat has kind of a creepy feel to him, and that was pretty much just why he did it. And that's great. I think because for me as a writer, as somebody who kind of, draws inspiration from all over the place, I've had moments like that where I've just heard an old song that has no reason to be creepy whatsoever. And there's just something about it, some hook, some note, some whatever, that just in my mind, I'm like, that would be perfect for just a really creepy scene, or just a really weird scene in a movie. And to see, Jordan Peele doing that and then incorporating music that really isn't used in, horror films often at all is fun to see. It's nice and refreshing to see.
I don't know. In Halloween H2O Resurrection, Busta Rhymes was in that movie. I mean, come on.
Well,
that's a horror cinema
treasure.
Horror cinema classic, a classic of the genre. Oh, jeez. It is.
I mean, it's on my shelf right now, but only because I have the box set.
Maybe it should be in the trash can.
I mean, quite honestly, I have the box set of Halloween, and the only ones that I watch are the first one, the second one, occasionally the third one.
I don't think anyone on this podcast is going to blame you for that. I'll say this much about the soundtrack and Jordan Peele's approach to it. Like you said, Jess, it is very refreshing to see a different kind of approach. Some of the score is very Get Out-ish. It's very evocative of that, which is
by the same guy. So
yeah, thanks. No, really. Yeah, which is good. I mean, it's good that this kind of this through line continues into both
like
films.
A Bernard Herrmann, Alfred Hitchcock.
They are directed by the same person, aren't they? I don't know though. When I think back on this movie, I'm curious, Eric, for you, because you said it, and it's something that you said to me twice now. When you say you're thinking back on the movie and kind of it's stuck in your head, what specifically is sticking out to you so much?
Really, just I want to delve into
themes.
Yeah, all the themes and stuff. Like, there's so much in this movie that, like, so I do the thing that, you know, I'm sure you guys probably did after you watch this movie, and you go on Reddit or you go on fucking YouTube or you go on whatever and you read or watch all the, you know, Us explained, like, what was the ending? I'm like, I know what the ending means, like, because I'm not an idiot.
What do you
like,
idiots think?
But I want to know what you idiots think, because maybe you idiots thought about something different that I didn't think about. And there's a lot of little subtle things throughout the movie that, like, I didn't pick up on at first watch. I also watched it, you know, at 12:30 at night on Thursday or whatever, because I really wanted to avoid spoilers really bad. So I watched it. I got out of a show at like 11:30 and I was like, let's go see Us right now. So I also need to watch it again, just because, like, you know, I want to watch it when I'm, you know, when there's not like ringing in my ears and I'm not half drunk. So, but there's little things throughout the movie, like, I noticed this, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when at the beginning of the movie, and this is in the fucking commercial too, so they, like, you know, broadcasted it, and I always thought it was a little weird, and then somebody vocalized it, and I was like, you're right, that is 100% what's weird about it, is when they're in the car, and I Got Five on It comes on, and Lupita turns around and she starts to talk to the son, and she's telling him to get in rhythm.
And she snaps off beat.
And she starts to snap. She's snapping on the upbeats. She's snapping in time, but she's snapping on the upbeats instead of on the downbeats. And I was like, whoa, like little subtle things like that, where you're like, oh, she's the shadow. Like,
well, I read something like that too, like when she's talking to Kitty, Elizabeth Moss's character, and on the beach, and she's like, sometimes I have trouble talking, and she, you know, just in general. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So no, I definitely. There were a lot. I'm sure, and like you said, like, I mean, I saw it at 6:00 on a Saturday, not drunk at all. And I definitely need to see it like 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah,
at
like
least.
the things, the thing with her, like eating strawberries at the table while everybody else is eating, like, you know, some fast food or whatever. And you think, like, she lived her first, like, handful of years, you know, eating rabbits underground. So, like, that would traumatize anybody. And, like, I wouldn't fucking want to eat meat ever again after that. Yeah, she's probably a vegetarian or vegan or something like that. And there's all sorts of, you know, there's subtle nods to things. There's like the super big obvious one, like at the very beginning of the movie when there's the little TV and there's that creepy Hands Across America commercial. And there's the VHSs, and Chud's one of them. And I'm just like, oh, hey, Chud.
Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, dude. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like he wants to remake that.
I mean, maybe
I feel
this
like
is
that
his,
there's a hint in
you know,
there.
Chud version. Like, this is his version of Chud, you know?
Chud version? That's a good name for a band.
Yeah,
Chud version.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Lupita Nyong'o's performance is absolutely insane. Everybody did a really, really fucking good job in this movie. All the actors, all the performances, especially having to play 2 different people. And the characters feel different, you know? God, the music in this movie's...
I mean, I thought the way that they handled, like, that he chose to handle using them as, you know, shooting them as 2 different people, but in the same shot. Well, you get the one De Palma shot, which is great.
Yep.
Right? The De Palma shot that exists because of De Palma. I cannot claim anything other than it's his homage to De Palma. It has to be.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, I don't think there's any more to it than that. I mean, there's a ton of, I mean, just a sidebar. There's a ton of references in this movie. I mean, The Shining is all over this movie. Chud, obviously. Nightmare
so much so that Jordan Peele is dressing up as Jack Torrance on the press circuit.
Well, and that also makes me wonder if maybe that means there's some kind of Shining movie in his future, or a TV series or something.
I don't know. Please do not remake The Shining.
There's like weird, like genocide,
do that.
Native Americans thing. Because there's like totally a Native American like find yourself at the beginning, and then it's a Merlin thing at the end. Like,
well, that's like all. That's
also like changing of the times too. That's like the shit you could get away with in the 80s that you can't fucking get away with now. Yeah.
Well, I think that like that again, like that. I wrote down like a whole bunch of different like recurring things, but I think that a lot of this movie is about a ton of stuff, and yeah, I think one of those things would definitely be just the cyclical forgetting that people do, specifically Americans, is like, you know, Americans like to pretend that we aren't, you know, built on bloody ground, and it's very easy for us to just kind of like turn a blind eye and kind of forget how things happened, and that,
or that, you know, doing something like Hands of America actually benefited anyone when it didn't.
Right, yeah, where it's just those constant just acts of like, hey, remember when all this bad shit happens? Nope, let's just pretend that didn't happen real hard, and then we'll just move on with our lives, and we do that all the time. And I mean, that again, I think this movie is about also, you know, there's themes of class struggle, there's, you know, themes of PTSD and trauma, there's like guilt of privilege, I think, you know, of how, like, you know, people who experience trauma who maybe come from a poorer upbringing are going to have a lot harder time dealing with that trauma and getting the help that they need versus people who have a trauma but, you know, have an okay life and have, you know, the means to get the help that they need and how they recover from that. Like with, you know, the girl being stuck in the tethered world and, you know, coming out versus the other one coming out into the real world. She totally forgot who she was, which again, there's your Twilight Zone After Hours reference of the mannequins. She totally forgot. Yeah, she totally forgot.
I am pretty sure that this whole movie is showing that Lupita Nyong'o's character is the first successful thing that they made, because they talk about how the tethered didn't have souls, and because the untethered get the
bodies,
soul.
One soul. Yeah.
I could see that she was like their first like one that was actually successful, and that's
that
how
the
she
soul
figured
is
out
actually
to get away.
the soul is actually split as opposed to one having it and the other one not.
That's a good I like that theory. I like that because that would explain, you know, that kind of explains why she feels the need to walk away from everybody else to the mirror. That, you know, everybody else is just doing with, you know, mimicking whatever's happening above ground.
Maybe.
But she's pulled toward the mirror.
The thing I wonder about this movie, and just back to like the thematic film in and of itself, and this is the thing that has not been bothering me, but it's making me wonder, and I'm curious y'all's take on it. I don't know. I think I might have enjoyed this movie and the narrative it was telling a little.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue, heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
But more if it wasn't so ham-fisted with the twist and it just didn't have it at all, and it just allowed the audience to naturally come to the conclusion that the character is clearly switched as opposed to showing it.
Maybe.
I mean, like, I don't know, because like me personally, and I know Eric, you and I have talked at this ad nauseum, I'm the kind of person who enjoys an open-ended movie and an open-ended experience, and I don't need everything explained to me. I mean, like a film like Videodrome, very little is explained. A lot is explained, but at the end of it, really nothing is explained, and it's given a rather open-ended ending in a way, and I feel like this movie kind of missed the mark. It didn't have to show us, oh, it actually is it is Red, not Adelaide. Like, I think they gave you enough in the movie to pick up on that. And I feel like it would have been a much more successful film narratively if it didn't have these,
if you chop that monologue.
Not just the monologue. If you chop some of, because like there's also these like weird flashback things. And it's like those flashbacks, honest to God, don't do anything that those like little hints of like the cracks showing with her character. Those don't do anything that those little cracks, like when she kills one of the twins and she's like making those guttural grunts, or when she kills, like when Red kills Adelaide at the end of the film and she's making those like guttural noises. Like I don't think that those like flashbacks or anything else were so necessary outside of what those already did to kind of give the audience those like clues and implant in the audience's mind like there's more going on here. And I think it would have been a much more interesting film narratively to have at the end of the film her son's character played by Evan Alex looking at her with that like look on his face, and you and him being the audience realizing at the same time like he knows that she is not who he thinks she is, but there's nothing he can do about it because he watched her murder the actual Adelaide was actually murdered by Red, or however you want to phrase it. I think me personally it would have worked a lot better because it's just this whole idea of there's a lot to this film. It's so layered, and instead of saying here let's like look at the layers from the side, it's like no, we need to have everything just like handed to you like outright. And for me it takes away some of that like the mystique and the mystery and me wanting to kind of delve deeper into the film, because it's like I guess we're not having one message. There's multiple messages how we can interpret it when you have a film like Get Out, which stuck to one central idea and explored the central idea broadly as opposed to broad ideas explored broadly, if that makes sense. Like take a narrow idea, explore it broadly. Don't take broad ideas and try to expound on all of them at once, because it just feels like, what are you trying to say here? I know what he was trying to say in Get Out. I don't know what he's trying to say with Us because there's so many different things.
Well, I mean, I think that's the point, though. I think that he's not trying to say one thing. And I understand, like, the want to, like, just have something, just to have, like, to be focused on that one sort of story and extrapolating more on that rather than feeling lost in the kind of minutia of trying to get through, several different huge themes and questions. And I agree that it would have been better if he definitely cut down a lot of that exposition and kind of let the audience draw more conclusions and be a little bit more free with, what their interpretations are, because I can see that maybe there could be like, it seems like it's trying to make you think, that it's about something, about one specific thing, while also going, actually, no, we're about a lot of things. And I can see that maybe, that isn't the, most coherent, most interesting or conducive way of telling a story or getting an audience involved or conveying your message specifically. And I agree that definitely, I think that cutting down on that, not necessarily cutting it down, but kind of sculpting it a little bit more, maybe taking a little bit more time with some of those ideas on the back end of things might have made some of them come to like the forefront a little bit, or I'm not sure.
Like, I want to go on the journey with the director, not feel like the director is dragging me along. Like, let's take this journey together. Don't drag me along and give me, like, don't pull me along, because that's what it felt like. It felt like I was being pulled along in the third act. I wanted, like, the second act of this film is so good. The second act of this film is fantastic. And then the third act just kind of falls apart when you have this exposition dump and you have, the twist. And it's like, yeah, I mean, everybody saw the twist coming, unless I don't even know how you couldn't, because they show that scene at the beginning of the film. And they're not just showing it for no reason. This is not a documentary. This is a narrative that's been crafted by the director.
Well, they might have, maybe the implication would be that she was traumatized by that experience and that, she didn't fully recover from it.
I would say that if this wasn't a film about doppelgangers, though.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
if they didn't put out that Vox piece or whatever it was saying, hey, you should watch Mirror Image before you see Us, it maybe also wouldn't have been as noticeable.
Well, yeah, and that's my point. It's like,
watch the doppelganger episode. Guess what the movie's about?
Yeah, like totally isn't going to be that they're switched early on in the film, and you're going to be interpreting the film differently the second time you watch it. Or if you happen to, in quotations, pick up on what the twist is, then you'll interpret the film differently than the person sitting next to you who didn't interpret the twist or kind of pick up on it at the beginning.
But see, and then and for me, I do like just a bunch of seeds planted to run with, because like I said, I've got like 4 pages of notes on various different like aspects of either, things that I was reading about, things that I was thinking about. So I kind of like that there is that more ambiguous, where it's much more like, here, we're going to throw in a whole bunch of stuff and you latch on to whatever you think is most important. I like that. I think it's fun. I think that it could have been trimmed a little bit, but that's more in the monologue aspect for me than anything else. I kind of like the flashbacks. I particularly love the dance stuff. I really enjoy pieces of filmmaking like that, obviously, Suspiria. But, so yeah, no, I did enjoy that. And I also like those just tons and tons of, I think, like, obviously the thing about rewatching this movie, I think, is not so much I already know the twist, so it's kind of ruined for me. I don't think that at all. I think that there's so many little subtle things, like we've been talking about this entire time, and references and all of that every time you watch it, you're going to be picking up on stuff. And like the one thing that I looked into today, I wanted to see what kind of the interpretations of what like the tethered names were, because all of the tethered versions, of the doppelgangers have their own names. And they're all very distinctive names.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at, I think, they're Red, Abraham, Wayland, Dahlia, Tex. Dahlia and Tex are Kitty and Josh, who are Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker, which we haven't talked about them at all, or their kids. I like them. I mean, they're pretty much useless in the movie. They pretty much
like
only exist to die and then to have a house.
Yeah.
And to have a hilarious, misunderstanding with an Alexa knockoff. But, so they're Dahlia and Tex, and then Eartha, Ombre, and Pluto are the, 2 kids, of Zora and Jason's doppelgangers, Ombre and Pluto. And then Io and Nyx are the twins. So I guess Ombre means shadow, obviously. So and Zora is a Slavic word for dawn. So that's kind of interesting. Pluto is like...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Like the god, like the Greek or Roman god of the underworld, I think, like that. Or something like that. Mm-hmm. Dahlia and Tex seem pretty obvious to me. I think Black Dahlia and Tex Watson, Manson family.
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
Like, what is it? The question in my mind is, what does this all say?
Well, I mean, they're just like kind of like juxtapositions of the underground. I mean, like Ombre being a shadow versus dawn. Like Dahlia and Tex versus. I mean, Dahlia and Tex are. I don't know. I think that's more of just. I think part of it is reference for like fun, like fan service, and then I think part of it, like Io and Nyx are Greek myths, I believe.
Greek gods, aren't they?
Greek gods, yeah. Nyx was actually a lover of Zeus, and Hera turned her into a white cow for all of eternity. So I'm not sure what that means. I can take a guess, but I don't know. But and it doesn't have to mean anything. That's the thing. It's a movie. When it comes down to it, it's a movie. All movies are movies, and they're for whatever you want to do with them. You can just watch them and say that was a fun movie. I really enjoyed the fuck out of that, or I never need to see it again, and that is totally cool. You can watch it and you can come up with 400 different crazy ass opinions, and then you get a documentary like Room 237, which I think we've mentioned on every episode of a podcast we've done done together.
I was under the impression Us was about the Negro League Baseball formation. That's the way I interpreted Us.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, that's the thing about this movie, that when you guys said The Shining, it has that feel to it, where it's like Jordan Peele is trying to say a lot of different things, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, and
I don't think he succeeds at every one of them. I don't think he fully succeeds at execution, but I think that I still really dug it.
I mean, my favorite thing about this movie was the fact that they totally referenced Get Out when the character was eating fucking Fruit Loops with no milk on them, and one of the characters in this movie did the exact same thing, which is super fun.
It is, and that's what I really, as far as like the fan service and all of that goes with Jordan Peele and his movies, I really like his style and his approach to it. I don't think it's too ham-handed. Some of it can be, but I mean, shooting at Santa Cruz on the boardwalk is fun, and obviously they make a reference to them shooting the Lost Boys at the beginning of it. And there's, when they show the underground facility tunnels and it looks like an abandoned like mall, it was very Dawn of the Dead, actually I got more of like it was Cronenberg, is it, that has the scary mall? Is it Rabid or is it Shivers? I always get them confused for some reason.
I think it's Shivers.
I think it's Shivers, yeah. But no, like just that, like kind of, it also reminded me of a mall that doesn't exist anywhere anymore that used to be by me, but it like those same weird square benches and that eerie hall reminded me exactly of that mall, and it was just like, it's a scary part of childhood. But I like his style. I like how he gives nods to his, favorite stuff, and some of it's more obvious than others, but that's another part of like revisiting his movies. Specifically this one, I think, is that it's going to be more like, oh, hey, yeah, there's another reference that I didn't notice.
Yeah, I mean, again, the thing, like you said, the thing that I share with you that I appreciate about Jordan Peele is he's a fucking film nerd and a film geek, and he really lets that shine through, and that's a good thing, because there's not enough directors out there who really let their kind of unabashed love for cinema shine through.
Right.
And I think that's really cool about him as a director and a writer.
I think that he's only going to keep growing.
Right. I'd be curious to see if he ever directs something that he doesn't write, because I'd like to see how much of what he directs, his direction style is the way that he writes versus, a whole package versus kind of where he is as a director. I think that'd be interesting.
I don't know. I think he's very much of the like director as a tour type.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Which I get. I mean,
there aren't very many of those left right now. Like true.
Is he in neo-auteur? Is that where we're at?
I mean, kind of.
The next stage, neo-auteurism.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, name another director working right now who also
David Fincher.
Yeah. Like, there's not very many.
No, but I mean, you're right. Like, I think about that often of like who are like the big, like, I mean, Tarantino.
But Tarantino just rips everybody else off and claims it's his own work.
Wow.
Ari Aster. I will throw his name into
I would agree. Even if I wasn't the biggest fan of Hereditary. Well,
kind of.
There's plenty.
PTA. I guess you can say Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson for sure.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Steven Spielberg, duh.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
He's a fucking asshole. Can we agree?
He's turning into a curmudgeon, and it's pretty.
I hate Netflix signs with Apple Plus the next day. You're an asshole.
Yeah, but it's TV.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter what it is. He's an asshole, and he. There's no legitimacy to Netflix. Okay, then why are you doing this again? Oh, because they backed up a Brinks truck to your house and said, "Here's your money, Mr. Spielberg," and he goes,
"You don't have enough.
Yeah, dump it in that fire that we're burning up back to keep our piles of money warm." So yeah, the auteur aspect of this film should not be lost on anyone who sees it, because Jordan Peele has a very distinct voice, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
even if I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, I think, like we said at the beginning, there is only, hopefully, upward progress from here.
Right. I think there will be. I mean, I think that there's definite, I mean,
he didn't do a lot of world building in Get Out. And I think that's where that's where this movie kind of gets hung up on itself, is the world building and the mythology that he builds.
And you know what? As a person who writes, I can totally appreciate that, because I've previously, since I'm still like, getting used to screenwriting and doing that. And most things I've written, a couple of the scripts I have right now are very much still just like one person, but I'm trying to work on one right now. I'm developing a story that has like 7 different characters and a whole like mythology backstory to it. And it is hard. Like I have to change my entire writing process, the entire way I generally do things to figure this out. And it is a weird concept. So I can definitely understand and empathize with like, you know, that maybe he didn't, you know, get everything, you know, that there's definitely some kinks and there's definitely some fat that could have been trimmed and there's definitely, you know, things that could have been done differently. And I think that is just like a product of like, yeah, Get Out was a contained story. It happened in primarily one location. It was, you know, primarily 3 to 4 characters, like main ones. But this one, everybody has a doppelganger. Like your whole cast is doubled. It's So yeah, like that, and having to write 2 different personalities for everybody. I mean, granted the other tethereds don't really have personality, aside from Tim Heidecker's, which has a lot of personality.
More personality than even his actual normal character.
Right, and I totally appreciate that. I thought it was great, and I do think that which we didn't touch too much on, but I think that the comedy horror element is expertly balanced here.
I mean, I would contend that this movie is a black comedy more than anything else.
Yes, I can definitely see that it would fall in like the dark comedy.
Well, it is scary. I know Jordan.
I think it does have a lot of.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times, or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months, or the Rogue heat baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Really good dread in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jordan Peele went on record and said, this is a horror movie. If Get Out wasn't a horror movie, and everyone wanted to say it wasn't, which I'll count myself as one of those people that was on the fence. This movie, it's more horror than Get Out, but it's more of a black comedy than anything else.
I would say
a
horror movie.
I mean, yeah, but again, like, it has scenes of dread, but...
See, I think it's implication. I don't know, for me, there's a lot of implication and context that really, like, freaks me out.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be the fucking curmudgeon here and say that, again, I'm still on the fence. Like, he's not going to make the quote-unquote horror movie that anyone on the street will be like, this movie is a fucking horror movie.
No, he's not going to make the by numbers horror movie.
Right, and he's never going to do that, which I'm perfectly okay with. I don't want him to. But I think that quantifying this as a horror movie alone, it undersells the quality of this movie, which is why I always tried to say with Get Out was, by just saying it's a horror movie, you're undercutting the entire film, because it's so much more than that. This movie is so much more than just a horror movie, which again speaks to the quality of Jordan Peele as a writer to really take those different genre aspects and mix them together into something that almost feels like it's, I mean, it's a thing about this movie that it's like, you know, there are bands out there that someone's like, well, you know, Greta Van Fleet is essentially a Led Zeppelin ripoff. Sure. But there are bands out there that are their own thing, and they've taken things from other bands and put it into their own thing and have kind of become undistinguishable as it's like a melange of things so cooked down and turned into one kind of its own different thing that where it draws from, sure, it draws from this, but it's become so much of its own thing that you're like, this is this, and they're not really like anybody else. And that's what's great about Jordan Peele is, yeah, he cops from other things, but he makes it his own thing so well that this is a Jordan Peele movie, and that's awesome that he's able to do that.
Couldn't agree and disagree more.
Oh, good for you. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that makes him. That's the thing that makes me excited for him as a director and as a writer, and for the Twilight Zone show that's coming out in like a couple weeks or a week.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, where is he going from here? Hopefully up.
I think he is.
Certainly not going down.
No, I think he's gonna...
I mean, look, he's gonna eventually probably have one bad movie. I mean, that's just the way it is. Not every director's films are amazing.
I don't know.
Even Tarantino has a stinker if you're a fan of Tarantino. Even Fincher has a stinker if you're a fan of Fincher.
I like Alien 3.
I wasn't even talking about Alien 3.
I still.
What about the Curious Case of Benjamin Button is more what I was referencing.
It got nominated for an Oscar.
That means so did Avatar.
That means nothing.
Yeah, Oscar nomination. Green Book won an Oscar. Eric, do we want to go down this road?
The Oscar.
I don't know.
It won the Oscar.
The Oscar.
Didn't even watch it. So
Bohemian Rhapsody won for best editing. Let that sink
either.
in for a second.
Yeah.
I think ultimately at the end of the day, this is not going to get nominated for an Oscar. Not that that matters.
No, I don't think this is going to win best screenplay.
No. I think it's an entertaining film. I think it's an interesting film with some interesting things to say. But for me, it falls a little short of the mark. Just a little, not a lot. But again, a lot of movies fall a lot more short of the mark than this movie does. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a success.
Well, like I said, I mean...
It's $72 million success.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think, this movie has a lot of issues, and we've touched on a lot of that stuff with pacing and just trying to maybe cram too much in and explain too much or do too much or whatever. I mean, this would be an interesting, in the day of, Netflix or something like this, like imagine this story like parsed out over 6 or 8 episodes. And you can really fucking crank up the dread and just let it be slow. But I don't know. Then that makes it a whole different feeling and a whole different thing. I love that this was a 2-hour contained, not contained as in small scale, because this is a much
bigger scale
than Get Out was, both in mythology and in scope and in characters and everything. He really had a lot of ideas and went fucking for it. And
this is the movie you make after you make Get Out, and it's so successful. Now you can kind of do whatever you want. You've been given a blank check, and that's exactly what this movie is.
Make the movie that you fucking
And that's
not
a bad movie to end up with when you do give directors that fucking privilege to do that.
Holy shit, we've seen some turd movies where it's this is my dream film. It's I bet it was.
It's they give you so much money to do.
This is my vanity project of vanity projects. This is the movie I wanted to make. You sure made it, didn't you? You made a movie.
I mean, look at the movies that Francis Ford Coppola makes now that he funds himself.
Or Oliver Stone.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, this is the movie I wanted to make. Cool, man. Well, nobody wanted to watch it, so maybe next time don't make it.
Yeah.
So,
or at least don't release it.
Yeah. So Jess, what would you give this film out of 5?
4 out of 5.
Eric?
I think I would give this movie a 3.7.
Oh my god. 5. You can't split it that far. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna give
3.75.
3.75 out of 5. Yeah.
I'm gonna
5.75.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. So we're all kind of close.
Middle round.
Yeah.
Weird movie. So weird, but I am all about it. Give me more weird shit like this. I
want more weird. Let's get weirder.
I want commentary on this. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to dig into all the behind the scenes shit. That's gonna be amazing.
And that vinyl score.
It's coming soon, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm surprised it's not already here.
Also, I'd like to point something out that I really did appreciate. He cast actors that are very expressive with their eyes.
Yes, he did.
Which is great because it really works in kind of the scheme of what the film's trying to say.
Yeah, and especially for the tethered don't talk.
Yeah.
Not really. So
oh yeah.
Communicate in some fashion.
And I want to know what the gorilla mask was supposed to mean. That's what I want to know.
I thought it was
Chewie. I thought it was Chewbacca mask.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of more it was his whole character's creation is sort of a Friday the 13th homage, and his name's Jason. I think he kind of takes after the Corey Feldman type of mask making, wearing a mask to fight the monster, and that was my interpretation of it. Anyway.
And we didn't even talk about the fact that there is a fight dance scene in this movie that may be the best part of this entire film.
I mean, yeah, we touched on it a little bit.
A little bit.
We talked about the music, but the fact that scene is a choreographed dance / fight is...
Yeah, it is. It's it's really great.
It's pretty interesting. It's definitely like a little bit of Suspiria, and even in my mind, a little bit of like Black Swan, like that sort of like weird duality.
Yeah,
crazy
it really works.
Flashbacks and flash forwards and intercuts between the two of them, and the fucking music cutting in and out at weird intervals.
And the fact that how often do they use a song in a trailer of a movie and it never shows up in the movie?
Every time.
Right, except for this movie where it's like a part of the movie,
which is amazing.
And it's amazing.
And it doesn't feel ham-fisted.
No,
I mean, obviously we saw in the trailer that, you know, I've Got Five on, it's going to be in the movie, and I didn't expect it to show up anywhere else, and then you actually have the version of it show up at the end of the film during that dance scene. So it was, again, Jordan Peele, the distinct voice that he has as a director it's exciting that this is like his second film, and
I like it, and I'm craving more already.
So we'll take a break, and we'll play a preview for the next Culture Cast.
In the autumn of 1865, notorious bushranger Daniel Morgan crossed from New South Wales into Victoria to do battle with the law for the last time. What happened has been a secret for over 100 years. Now the fascinating truth can be told.
Stand! Or he'll blow your bloody head off, and I'll knock out all your teeth.
I want the cry of my hounds in his ears. I want his spleen on my desk by sundown.
The truth about Mad Dog Morgan is now an epic movie, recreating the turbulent gold fields, the sprawling sheep stations, and the festering prisons of early Australia.
No! You wouldn't be so game if I wasn't tied down like a dog!
Dennis Hopper,
Bail up, Elgin, move forward!
in the finest performance of his career, brilliantly recreates the enigma that was Morgan. A giant of a man trapped by the nightmare of his own legend.
The way he looked at me, Lord, dressing me with his eyes. God, nightmares for the rest of my life. God, thought of him kissing me, touching me. Horrible, disgusting.
I've missed so much of my life, sir. And I'm not trying to be sentimental either. Do you know how lucky I am to be Dan Morgan, sir?
Mad Dog Morgan brings you all the passion, the spectacle, the savage beauty of the tumultuous gold rush era, vividly portrayed by an outstanding cast.
Ha-ha! Boomeranged! What next? To corroborate? You could have been shot. Shot be damned. I'm the magistrate of Wagga Wagga.
The police across the river border are totally and completely incompetent. We will not tolerate anarchy in our colony.
Everyone is talking about it. You won last 24 hours in Victoria. As senior officer here, I assume command of this situation.
I'll get the bastard.
He's a name with £1,000 reward and blood on his hands.
This is Morgan country, where it happened. And this is Morgan. Ferociously violent, unexpectedly kind.
My wagon? I'd be giving you £1. And only for one reason, that I may have to take it back from you someday.
Mad Dog Morgan.
He's got giant balls, that one.
Symbol of terror to the wealthy and the powerful.
Burn it down, Billy! Burn it down! Burn it down!
Was he a monster or a martyr? A ruthless bandit or a rebel hero? Outwitting, outriding, outgunning an army of police. Here at last is the truth about Mad Dog Morgan, the outlaw's outlaw.
So on the next Culture Cast, we're going to be talking about Mad Dog Morgan, a film that is not us and is equally as weird in spots, but good as well. It has Dennis Hopper, otherwise known as King Koopa. So
yes,
trust the fungus.
Koopster.
Yeah,
the
because that's what
Koopster.
Dennis Hopper is known for.
On this podcast, it kind of is.
I mean, yeah, he'll always be King Koopa to me, so.
Yeah. When we're not talking about Super Mario Brothers again, somehow it keeps coming up like a bad case of herpes. Where can people find you, Jess?
You can find me on Twitter at writer Jess Byard, and you can find me on Instagram at the same. I'm on Facebook. I'm trying to not be on Facebook as much anymore because it's a horrible, depressing place. So those are the social mediums.
And Twitter and Instagram aren't?
I do like Instagram. It's just pictures. It's just happy, nice pictures.
It's pictures until you read below.
I don't read. That's what.
That's probably the smart.
It's a lot easier to ignore text in Instagram than it is on Facebook.
Sure is. Yeah, isn't it? Eric, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Tychomagnetics. Not really on the other things, so don't look there. I'm not there.
Don't look now.
Don't look now. Don't look through my window right now because I'm not wearing pants. But yeah, you can find me there. Most of the time, it's just like when I get drunk and start to live tweet some weird fucking movie that I'm watching. You can check out my real time hot takes
like
on
Return of the Living Dead 3.
Yeah, Return of the Living Dead 3: Attack of the Sexy Zombies.
Hey, it's somebody's.
The movie's great.
Oh, it's fantastic. I watched that
definitely
movie when I was
better
a
than
little
Return
kid,
of the
and I
Living
was
Dead
like,
2. That's for sure.
Oh, now I get why I like all this stuff.
Return of the Living Dead 2. You like the cast in the first movie? Now we're gonna make a bad movie.
I don't like Return of the Living Dead 2.
Yeah, but the first one is so good that the second one.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah.
The second one's just stupid and fun.
I'll be honest, I don't even think I've seen the first one in maybe ever. I think I've only seen the third one, and I'm just like, no movie is
What the fuck is wrong with you right now?
Return of the Living Dead 3
so
is
much trouble.
Amazing.
Dude, Return of the Living Dead is the quintessential, without doubt, zombie film.
No, it's not.
Dude, it is the zombie film. It is the Return of the Living Dead is the zombie film.
Movie.
Return of the Living Dead is the zombie film where eating brains came from.
Well, I know that, but I don't know.
I mean, it's pretty iconic. I wouldn't say it is the iconic zombie movie, but it's definitely up there, and it's hilarious and great.
Dawn of the Dead and Return of the Living Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, I appreciate them for what they are.
Day of the Dead's my favorite.
Day of the Dead is very good. I appreciate them for what they are, but we're talking about
by the way.
a entertaining zombie film.
Today.
Return of the Living Dead, I think, is the one. But we'll have that conversation at some point down the road, I'm sure, on another podcast that hasn't been released yet, but it will be eventually. You can find me on Twitter at Culture Stash. You can find the podcast on Twitter at CultureCast. Head on over to culturecast.com to find the RSS feed for this. Got links to Patreon, got links to iTunes. You know what to do with them if you've been listening to this for any more than one episode. You know what those do. And make sure to check us out on the next episode.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.